Ursula and Lorne are desperate to move this historic train station and convert it into their dream home.
It's scaring me. I'm wondering whether this train station will be moved.
Will the station and crew survive a treacherous trek across flooded fields? Under high-voltage power lines? And over muddy meadows? Hauling this fragile station will be nothing short of one massive move. Warman, Saskatchewan, an idyllic place of unspoilt natural beauty. These lush surroundings attracted Ursula Stroutman and her partner Lorne to move here in 1991. Originally, they could only afford a cozy little family house in town.
We've been living here for about 20 years. This is our home, and basically I raised my children here.
But now that their children have flown the nest, Ursula has big plans for a countryside plot near Warman.
We have a beautiful piece of property just outside of Saskatoon that we've never been able to enjoy.
She's found an extraordinary building with as much character as her stunning land. It's a century-old historic railway station. The only problem, somehow she's got to move it all the way from Asquith to the plot.
Well, here we are. We had a train station in that little small town that I grew up in. It wasn't the Grand Trunk line, it was a different line. They looked a little bit similar.
Kinley Station was built in 1908 as a key stop on the Grand Trunk Pacific Railway. 100 years ago, its ticket offices and waiting rooms would have been buzzing with passengers and railway staff. The building's rich history, spacious rooms, and period features could make it the ideal home for Ursula and Lorne's stunning site. But it's very much a diamond in the rough.
Walls have to be redone. Everything has to be redone. There's an awful lot of work involved. It's like a shell right now.
Buying the station will set Ursula and Lorne back $35,000. Moving it to the plot and laying foundations, another $75,000. Renovation, $150,000. Bringing the grand total for this ambitious project to $260,000. And it weighs 100 tons. It's the rainy season, and it has a long way to go. The station needs hauling over 50 miles from rural Asquith to Warman. A huge obstacle lies between the two sites. The city of Saskatoon, a sprawl of roads and railways. It's impossible to squeeze this station through the narrow and chaotic streets. So Ursula will bring in Canada's super heavy hauler, Carey Neufeld. After a quick inspection, it's pretty clear he'll have to go the long way round. Over back roads, fields, and dirt tracks. Even for him, it's gonna be a unique challenge.
This is a really neat job for us. We've never moved a railway station. There's a lot of things in a railway station that we haven't seen, and that's this type of structure, so we're just excited about the challenge of moving the railway station.
First job, and the first problem. To lift the mighty station off its ancient foundations, or what's left of them. Above ground, Ursula's station is in good condition. But the bottoms of the walls are extremely fragile and have already started to disintegrate. To strengthen the station's fragile frame, the team must build a rig of steel beams to cradle the structure. This hopefully will stop their dream home from breaking up during the journey.
The danger with the foundation collapsing, as you can see, both sides of the entire length of the freight room, the exterior foundation has collapsed.
While the team reinforced the foundations, Carrie makes another alarming discovery. It's only day one, and there's a second problem.
They've removed a wall here. You can see where the walls used to be on the floor here. With this wall gone, there's nothing really holding the walls from going back and forth.
To make more space inside the station, a load-bearing wall was removed 35 years ago. This makes the structure even more delicate. The slightest jolt when it's lifted up could cause it to collapse.
That it's crucial that we replace this wall with a temporary wall.
So Carrie's team will brace the walls, ceiling, and floor with wooden beams. Just as they seem to be making progress, a storm threatens to flood the site.
It's terrible. It's scaring me. I'm wondering whether or not this train station will be moved, and it's making me very nervous.
Coming up, can the team lift Ursula's dream home out of the mud and haul it cross country? After being beaten back by the storm, the team raced to move the station today. Fortunately, the weather seems to be holding. Ursula and Lauren arrived just in time to see their fragile station being wrenched off its old footings, hopefully without a hitch.
I have never seen a building lifted before, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this.
Let's roll.
The building begins to creak.
Half inch, an inch.
Oh my, look at that. Those little jacks are actually moving this entire building. This is amazing.
But the steelwork holds the brittle walls steady for now.
We're good to go here.
They slide the station onto the wheels, and finally, Ursula's station is ready to depart. Yesterday's storm has turned the field into a quagmire. The station might not be going anywhere, but down. Ursula and Lauren are very worried.
This is going to be 40 feet wide, and these roads are only 20 feet wide. And the ditches are filled with water, so there's an issue. That could cause a problem.
What's that?
Ben calls in a tractor for extra pulling power. He's gonna need all the help he can get.
At the moment, we're just putting on the tractor here just as a precaution. The wheels could possibly sink a few more inches, so this will just help the load keep moving along.
Now, the moment of truth.
Let's give her. You don't want to hold them back, so you might have to.
The colossal power of the tractor slowly edges the station forward. But they still have to squeeze through a forest that's blocking its way.
This is the mover's best friend.
But it's nothing Ben's trusty chainsaw can't handle.
I think it'll fit this time.
The driver edges over the bumpy field with trepidation. A sudden jolt could twist and crack its fragile walls. It's been a rough old start for this station, and there's still a 50-mile obstacle course to go. Meanwhile, Lauren travels ahead to inspect the new foundations.
None of this water was here yesterday, so I'm assuming it's really bad down there.
It's not a pretty sight. Exposed to the elements, they're flooded with rainwater. No place for an old building.
It doesn't look very good. We got an indoor swimming pool.
Lorne sets up a pump and generator to remove the floodwater. He must do it before the station arrives.
You know, we don't get that much rain. You know, we're getting more rain than like Vancouver, London, you know. That's not the way it's supposed to be.
As Lorne starts to make some headway, rain still threatens. Back on the road, the move team come head-to-head with their first major obstacle.
We're just coming up to a power line here, so it looks like they're going to be lifting it. And yeah, so I'll be slowing down and wait for the signal.
There are 15 major power lines on the 50-mile route to Warman. Each line feeds electricity to hundreds of homes in the surrounding towns. The lines are so low that the station's roof could easily catch on them. And a collision with one of these 25,000-volt cables could spell doom for Ursula's dream home. So Kerry must work with electricians to lift each line 3 feet above the station, giving them just enough room to squeeze underneath safely. Kerry's crew wait while electricians lift each wire up with an insulated pole. The team cautiously approach the first high-voltage line. An inch in the wrong direction, and lives could be lost.
208.
One down, 14 to go.
That's our first power line of the day. There's many more to go.
Coming up, can the movers guide Ursula's dream home across a busy railway line without being smashed by a high-speed freight train? Having successfully guided Ursula's new home under a series of high-voltage power lines, the team have a deadline on their hands. And they may not make it. A few miles ahead of the convoy lies a busy railroad crossing. They've been given a tight window to cross the tracks in, but they might not make it.
We're kind of in a little bit of a rush here. We got about 2 miles to go to the railway tracks. It's 11:15, and at 11:45 our permit expires to cross those railway tracks. We'll keep our fingers crossed that we make it there in time.
If the team missed their slot, it could derail the whole project. Ben puts his foot down. He must drive carefully. Floods have ravaged the area, and water is encroaching on the already narrow roads. If he careers off course, Ursula's dream home could make a splash landing. The station arrives in the nick of time. But it's not over yet, as Ben must carefully negotiate the uneven tracks, making sure the station doesn't tip. They make it in one piece. After surviving power lines, floods, and busy railway tracks, the station finally arrives at Ursula and Lorne's site.
Seeing that station come over the hill on the grid road was really spectacular.
But now it faces a very sticky problem. The new site sits on a floodplain by the South Saskatchewan River. It's now the wet season, and the ground is extremely muddy. There's a risk the 100-ton station could get trapped in the quagmire, and they'd have to wait until summer to rescue it. To avoid getting bogged down, Kerry must build a temporary path across the mud with 10 truckloads of gravel. He's gambling on the road being strong enough to support Ursula's dream home as the crew guide it to its new foundations.
You know, obviously moving a building with this kind of weight over something that's not even a real road. I mean, this is just 2 tracks that people come down to off-road with their vehicles.
The team compacts the gravel with a bulldozer. Any holes or gaps and the station could sink. It's already too late.
Our truck is partially sunk. We're gonna give it a try.
But 10 trucks of gravel is still not enough to stop the 100-ton load from sinking. They need more pulling power, and fast, to get it back on track. The foundations are just 65 feet away, but in this mud, it might as well be Texas. Finally, they escape the mud and drag the station toward its final destination.
We got her. We're parked beside the basement.
It's time to celebrate because we've made it. We've succeeded.
Not just yet, Ursula. The station has yet to slide onto its new footings. The mover's final challenge.
Like I say, nothing bad can happen now unless the foundation slowly sinks into the sand.
And that's a real possibility. Settling the station on its new footings will be a challenge. If the wooden walls aren't lined up precisely with the concrete foundations, they'll warp and lose their strength. For a perfect touchdown, the team will slide 2 long steel beams under the station and then roll it into place on giant roller skates. They'll measure the station every few feet to check it rolls on course. The station is precariously balanced, 15 feet in the air.
I've never seen anything like this in my entire life.
Let's roll.
One slip now, and Ursula's dream home could come crashing down around her feet. Coming up, with Ursula's dream home hanging in the balance.
Oh, just a second, that one is twisting.
One tug in the wrong direction could spell disaster. Ursula's dream home has survived a treacherous trek over floodplains, under high-voltage power lines, and across busy train tracks. But the movers now face one last hurdle. They must position the building millimeter perfect onto its new foundations, or risk a collapse.
How much is your plate overhanging that roll beam? That's to the inside of your plate?
And it just slides. It's like kids skateboarding.
Yeah, it's like skateboarding.
Something catches Ursula's eye.
Really looking forward to
Oh, just a second, that one is twisting.
There seems to be a problem with the rollers.
How come it's twisting? Okay, that's kind of freaking me out a little bit.
There's too much weight on the rollers.
The station's huge weight has brought the slide to a halt. The clock is ticking. The longer they're held up, the greater the chance of the foundations caving in. The crew quickly position more rollers to help take the strain with brute force. And it's not long before they're back on track. After a fraught afternoon for Ursula and Lorne, the old station finally pulls in.
I'm feeling really excited about this now.
Two months after the station arrived, Lorne and Ursula are hard at work, transforming it into a luxury home.
Lorne is the project manager, and I'm just the watcher. And I like bossing him around.
This is not a small project, but they'll have the views they've always dreamed of.
The restoration is going to take about 2 years, but at the end of it, it'll be totally worth it living out here.
When complete, she hopes to have a beautiful living and dining area upstairs, 2 spacious bedrooms, and an expansive garden with its very own river.
I think this is a dream come true. What about you?
Yeah, well, we're beginning to more and more appreciate the fact that living out here is going to be very nice.
I agree.
Thanks to the MOVE team's efforts, this station is now on track to becoming their dream home.